Good morning. This is the Citrus County Planning and Development Commission public hearing for January 5th, 2023. If you'd like to join us at this time, I invite you to please stand for the invocation and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Dear Lord, please give us the grace to be understanding, patient, and tolerant. With these attributes, we can conduct our work in a manner which will be pleasing to Thee, our county, and its residents. In the Lord's name, amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good job. Thank you. Madam Secretary, can we have the roll call, please?
Yes, sir. Good morning.
Thank you. Good morning.
The following Planning and Development Commission members are present this morning. Robert Bass, Chair. Stacy Worthington, First Vice Chair. James Roy, Second Vice Chair. Richard Barnes. David Bramblett. Michael Facemeyer. Kurt Stone. And School Board Representative Chuck Dixon.
Thank you. If any person decides to appeal any decision made by the Commission with respect to any matter considered at this hearing, he or she will need a record of their proceedings and, and for such purposes, he or she may need to ensure that a verbatim record of the proceeding is made, which record includes testimony and evidence upon which the appeal is to be based. During public input portions of the meeting, individuals are given 3 minutes, representatives of an organization are given 5 minutes. When anyone wishing to speak comes to the podium, please complete a yellow form. Please complete a yellow form to hand to the recording secretary. Please print your name, address, and the number of application for which you are speaking on the form. Yellow forms can be found at the podium by the door. If representing an organization, a letter of authorization must accompany the speaker. Comments will be limited to the topic being heard. Please state your name, spell your last name, and give your address for the tape record. At this time, we'll open up the public portion of the meeting if anybody wishes to speak on any topic. If anybody is here for application CU 22-15, it has been withdrawn and will not be heard today. Seeing none, we have no minutes. Staff announcements.
I'm going to introduce our county administrator. You can come up to the podium. It's on board now.
I'm here. I've got a lot of boxes. If you want to come to the house and help unpack, I'll take that. I see some familiar faces, but thank you for all that you do. I'm looking forward to working with each of you as we move Citrus County forward together. You have a tough job here. I can tell you that. It's not an easy job, but it's an important job. So thank you for everything that you do for the community. And we're looking forward to working together as we move this community forward. So I just want to come down and personally say hello. I'm like Motel 6, the light's always on. I give my cell phone number out. I have a little daughter, so she keeps me up at night as well. But I'm looking forward to working with each of you. And again, thank you for what you do. There's a lot of opportunity, I think, in the future for Citrus, and we can be proactive doing that together collectively. And there's a lot of talk about growth. I can tell you everywhere around the nation, growth is happening. Car washes, storage units, I hear that a lot. I was just in Englewood, Florida with my in-laws over the weekend, and they got them there too, so they're everywhere. But how do we prepare for the future? That's going to be important to move this community forward. Growth will happen. But how do we prepare for that, for the preferred outcome for this community, and make sure that we're intact with what we have, this characteristics of this community as we move it forward. As I look at this seal here with all that, that's important to make sure we are able to do that collectively to move that forward. But you all have important jobs. It's important for what you do, and I just thank you for what you all do. If I could ever be of assistance, reach out to me. Thank you. Have a great day. I wish you the very best, and we're excited about 2023 as we work together to move this community forward. Thank you all.
Thank you very much, and welcome to Citrus County.
Also, going to embarrass our newest planner, Daniel Carmona. Stand up. This is our newest planner on board, so you'll be seeing him in the future before you with some applications. He's still learning the computer system and everything else right now. He just started, so Thank you.
Welcome aboard.
And very quickly, so I don't forget, your next meeting in January is canceled. Our last application continued this morning, so you get a week off, and we'll see you again in February, but continue. Thank you.
You're going to have to retrain us probably.
Maybe.
Ex parte communications.
Good morning. With regard to CPAAA 22-21, do you have any ex parte communications you need to disclose for the record? And we'll start with Commissioner Stone.
None. Site visit?
None.
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 Site visit?
None.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
You're welcome. Thank you. If we could have the introduction by staff, I would appreciate it.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning.
This request is to change the future land use and the LDC Atlas from low-density residential to general commercial and medium-density residential. Here is the aerial view of the subject property. This is the view of the property from North Lecanto Highway. Here we are looking north on North Lecanto Highway, looking south on North Lecanto Highway, looking across North Lecanto Highway, adjacent industrial site to the north, and the proposed land use request. Thank you.
Thank you. Attorney Stillwell, welcome up and fill us in.
Good morning. For the record, Clark Stillwell, 320 South Highway 41, the Brandon Bank Building, on behalf of RBW Properties, Inc. That RBW is Mr. Robert Wilson. He's probably on his way, but he intended to be here. Happy New Year
Same to you.
to all of you. The request is two parts. It is a G Flume Atlas amendment to add 100 feet of commercial additional GNC off of the 400 feet that is traditionally on the G Flume and LDC Atlas. That's 2.3 acres total. The second request is to modify the balance of the site, approximately 19 acres from LDR to MDR. Site totals 30.31 acres. It's on the west side of County Road 491. As you saw, it has 1,003 feet of frontage on 491. 491 is a 4-lane, as you know, arterial roadway. It's currently vacant. The GNC area is 9 acres, 400 feet in depth. The LDC is 21. It is within your central ridge area, your growth area for the county per the plan. It's within the planned service area. It is serviced by central water and sewer. It has no concurrency issues as per the staff report and the letters in your file. The soils and the vegetation present no issues. The access, I'll discuss that a little later, but as you're aware under your land development code, for this type of roadway, you have a 450-foot separation from existing driveways. So if you take the driveway for the industrial site that you saw in the photographs, you take the driveway for the existing single-family residence to the south, which is located in the GNC area, and you add that together, the driveway entrance point for this road, whatever the land use is, GNC and LDR, or GNC and MDR, is going to be right in the middle of the project. That's critical because if you look at the backup material and what we'll go through with the PowerPoint, the elevation in this particular area is unique. The highest point is around 108 feet, 46 feet. It drops to the west, and then it drops to 61 feet along the front of the road. The abutting uses are, you have one single family house to the west on acreage, two single family homes in the northwest corner on existing MDR parcels, and then you see the cell tower and the existing industrial use to the north, which abuts a majority of the existing GNC. So, how about the PowerPoint? You driving the bus?
Sure.
Let's go, Miss Vicki.
Okay, we're there. You want to see this first?
That's a good start. Next one, please. This is the aerial, same as the county. You can see where the 100-foot increase in GNC is going to occur on the north side. It will be abut to a vacant MDR piece of property. That whole strip along South King B, as you'll see from the land use maps, is MDR. And the next one, please. This is a survey, and that shows the additional footage. Next one, please. That shows the survey for the rear area. Next one, please. This is the area we're talking about. You can see The land uses around it, the single-family use to the south abutting this, that's on a piece that has split zoning of MDR and GNC. It's the one with the for sale sign that says commercial property. You can see the extractive across the street and the county drainage retention area across the street. Next one, please. This, I believe, is the G flume map as it exists. Next one, please. This is the LDC Atlas map as it exists. Next one, please. This is the elevations we talked about. I've highlighted some key points. That top one, which is if you were to increase the GNC, it would be right to this point at 108 feet. And then you can see it goes off to the west down to the 46 and off to the northeast corner along the 491 of 61 feet. Remember the discussion we had about where the access road's going to be, whether this parcel is low-density residential, MDR, whatever. To get to the rear, it requires a platted roadway. Platted roadway is going to be 60 feet in width, 22 or 24 feet worth of pavement, and that's approximately an acre and a half worth of use. So next one should be this one. Okay. There's a discussion in the staff report about the area being predominantly residential. And I pulled some materials out of the comp plan to just show you, and this obviously is a dated table. I recognize that, but it's not that dated. And it shows you the breakdown of the uses in the county. For sure in 1996, I don't think they've changed a whole lot. But you can see out of the county, which has a total of 68,000 acres, less 1.09% is in multifamily. That's your MDR, HDR districts. And so when you talk about affordable housing, you're talking about multifamily. So let's go to the next one. This is also out of your comp plan. It talks about needs in the future through the year 2020. And in any case, we needed approximately 46,000 acres of new residential properties and 2,400 acres of commercial property. That particular chart was updated in 2004. It's not that dated, but it does show you that the county plan intends for there to be additional commercial throughout the county to include residential. Next one, please. This is from your flu. It's on page 10-129. It is the criteria for the location of future development. Okay. Population trends, environmental constraints, accessibility, area of high traffic volume, variable sewer and water and market conditions. The 491 corridor meets all of these criteria. Next one. Now, this is from your flu, and it's some policies. They're not discussed in the staff report, and they support the application. Next one. This one is specific to future commercial development. It is also from your flu. It incorporates as a policy what was in the text before, so it's identical. The protection from the development of natural hazards, that's for the coastal and lakes type areas. Adequate service for public utilities, we have that. No environmental impacts. Service the intended market. We're going to talk about the market here in a minute. Buffering per the code, which we would do. Adequate landscaping and use of native plants, which we would do at site planning. So we meet the specific policy of 1764. Thank you. Next one. All right, so the staff report talks about this is predominantly a low-density residential area. So I looked into that, and what I did was I took 500 feet, which is the notice from each corner of the property on the west side of the road. Okay, didn't go over on the east side, on the west side of the road, and there's a breakdown. The PDR, which is essentially Lecanto Preserve, is 15%. That's a single-family residential development of 4.5 acres, units per acre. You approved that earlier last year. There's your MDR breakdown, 232 acres. The GNC is 9%, industrial is 2%. And then if you combine the rest of it, you have a total of like 19% in low-density residential of the 437 acres. So when you say this is predominantly a low-density residential area, it's a commercial corridor, and it's got eclectic uses to include an industrial use. Next one. This is how I got there. This is what I calculated. Each one of those shows the acreage. Very first thing I would say to use the MDR parcel next to the industrial parcel at 9.8 acres. That could do 6 units per acre with central water and sewer and a PUD. Each of the MDR parcels along King Street also has that density, albeit there are some existing single-family residential uses there, but the vacant pieces are designated for multifamily. And that shows the relationship of adding MDR to that area will match. Next one. Same situation, and that shows you these LDR pieces are included in the calculation as they were within 500 feet. And those are the two pieces, the two critical pieces. So next one. All right, this is what's occurred on 491 since the original zoning was put in place in 1990. You know these as well as I do. The road was expanded, central utilities, Central Florida College campus expanded, county government center, Department of Health facilities, Sheriff's Emergency Operation, the Lecanto Schoolplex complex went from one school to 3, the Citrus County Transit Complex, and then you have in the area the Lecanto Preserve Project, which this board approved, and Crystal Glen. 11 indicates the known shortage of affordable housing post the recovery out of the Great Recession, and that's just a known fact. And then Suncoast Parkway Extension, State Road 44. All of this is since this low-density residential was put on this property, and all of those indicate that it's appropriate, we believe, to go to an MDR use. Next one. This is a Lecanto Preserve. As you can see, it accesses north of this property, but it's MDR, but it's also a majority of it is single-family residential. Only 5% of that was in any form of multifamily use. Next one. That's Crystal Glen, all single-family. Next one.
That's the last one.
Oh, thank you. We can go back. So we believe the MDR to the north is clearly compatible. The MDR, if developed under your code with the low density, you're having residential to residential. The MDR is a transition type zone. You've heard that many times before. The GNC is basically request is driven by the elevations, which means huge stormwater impacts, the location of the access road, with the driveway, with the drainage. We're asking for 2.3 acres. You're probably talking about 2 acres for drainage, driveway, buffers, and the county drainage retention area that exists on this piece via an easement, which is a 30 by 30 piece. So the MDR again is predicated on the request that your code, as per the tables, indicates an insufficient amount from a planning perspective of multifamily in the county. And so people talk about you have an affordable housing crisis when you only have 1% of your property. Yes, there's been changes since 1996. Let's just say it's 2% now. When you have that type of designation, you're going to have issues because low density residential is designed fundamentally for half-acre, third-acre lots, central water, and septic tanks. That was the model that low-density residential has always been predicated upon. The multifamily is clearly, I think, appropriate given the change in the character of the area and given the number of changes You're talking about school board and county employees, college, and the need to live near and where you work, and need to have a place that's affordable. So the staff report says we may not be compatible or consistent with the plan. We think we are. Staff report doesn't acknowledge that the house to the south is GNC. It doesn't address the plan policies that we cited, and the conclusion that this area is predominantly low-density residential, if you take that acreage calculation we did, is not supported, doesn't support that conclusion. The real problem here, okay, is your comprehensive land use plan and your land development code in the LDR district does not allow duplexes. So the end result is, if you got all this LDR, you're talking about that traditional subdivision we just talked about, half-acre, third-acre lots. You know, that model isn't the market anymore. That model's not going to work, particularly in this area, given the need for a different type of housing project. Lecanto Preserve doesn't get there. It's a whole different type of project. So I'm done. You got 4 options, the way I see it. You can say, okay, this is fine, we approve it. You can say, hey, we don't like the GNC, delete the GNC. If you tell me that, I'll come back, revise it, and we'll talk, or come back for another public hearing. You can say, we don't like the MDR, but we like the GNC. Okay, fine, if you do that, then I'll come revise it and come back. Or you can say, hey, this is not, timing's not right for this. Does anyone have any questions?
Any questions from staff?
Recently, we've seen kind of expansions with a PUD, and there's not one. Now, you talked about duplexes a little bit. Is that what's being planned here?
That's the most logical use, okay? It's not an area for apartments, okay? But Commissioners, in Citrus Springs, there's an area in Citrus Springs where duplexes are allowed. I don't know if you've driven up there and seen it. They're everywhere. They're being built everywhere. And they're already rented out. And why is that? It's proximate to those schools and where those people work. And it's a if you will, starter residential area. There's nothing in Lecanto that provides that. So that's what drove the request. You sat down with your client, you look around and say, what's the highest and best use of this land? And it's pretty straightforward. The commercial is going to be developed. The additional 100 feet avoid strip, okay? I mean, right now at 400 feet, you've seen it. You drive up and down the road. You got these strip projects one after another. You know, that's because you can only go to 400 feet. So, yes, ma'am, that's kind of the use.
Thank you.
Any questions from commissioners?
Thank you, Mr. Bass.
Thank you very
and
much.
Happy New Year.
Thank you. I won't forget you this time, Joe.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Joe Hockadell, Principal Planner. So this application is requesting to change the subject property from low-density residential to general commercial. Here again, you can see the aerial of the subject property and the surrounding areas. And so you can see right here, this is the existing industrial site. And then these properties down King B are medium density. They all have pretty much single-family homes on them. And so here you can see the existing land uses. So the existing around here is predominantly low-density residential and medium-density residential. The applicant is requesting to extend the general commercial portion by about 100 feet, about 2 acres. So the GNC along the roadway right now is existing. It's about 9 acres in size. And then the remainder of the parcel is to go to medium density. There is a single-family dwelling located on the property to the south, which has general commercial and low-density residential land use. And although the properties on King B are designated medium-density residential, the way they're operating right now is really more of a rural low-density style. A lot of them are 2.5 to 5 acre parcels, which is what we typically see in the rural area of the county. And even though they are medium density residential, Multifamily is not allowed by right in MDR. It does require a planned unit development to have multifamily in MDR. And so even though this property is in the planned service area and does have central water and sewer available, the depth they're looking for is a bit much that we see in this corridor. There are a few properties located to the north that have a greater depth, and there's one to the south that has a greater depth. But if you look at this corridor, it's all pretty uniform. And the intensity appears to be incompatible with the area the way it is operating right now. And so, since there is no planned development associated with this, we really can't assess any impacts for any proposal. So this is just a straight land use change. And so as proposed, it does appear to be inconsistent with the area and inconsistent with the comp plan.
Any questions for Joe? Yes, Commissioner Facemeyer.
Joe, the GNC parcel or zone or area north of the application, can you tell me what that is? Is that
Right here?
north? Yeah, up there. Yeah, just a little bit. Right there.
Sure. So the parcel that actually has the GNC tag on it is a church that came through a year or two ago, I guess. And they originally came through with a straight land use change, and then they added a PUD restricting that site to just a church and ancillary uses after they had submitted. And then the parcel directly to the north of that, the skinnier one, currently has a single family house on it.
So the applicant really wants to change the zoning in this application, and we don't really know what they want to do with it.
Correct.
Thank you.
Any other questions from commissioners? Thank you very much, Joe. At this time, we'll open up the meeting to the public. If there's any person here who wishes to make their voice known regarding this application, those in favor are welcome to come up first. Anyone wishing to speak in favor? Anyone wishing to speak in favor? Seeing none, anyone wishing to speak in opposition? Anyone wishing to speak in opposition? Anyone wishing to speak in opposition? Yes, sir. I'm sorry, I didn't see your hand at first.
Bear with me, I gotta find this pointer here. Hello, I'm Paul Doherty. I live on King B Street, been there for 25 years. The description gave by Joe of the use of the area is basically correct. It's more like low-density residential usage, even though it was elevated to MDR, I think about 15 or 20 years ago. My particular piece of property, if I can aim this thing right, maybe not. Top button?
Use that. And it's that screen. There you go. That screen.
This one here? Okay. Somehow I'm not getting it. Anyway, mine is a 10-acre piece. It's northwest of the industrial one there. It's broken into 4 parcels currently. I only have one house, one mobile on it. The mobile was bought later because that's what was on it with the previous owner. It's fairly typical of the area. If you allow medium density residential to extend below that area, the large LDR pieces below it, the 2 80-acre pieces that were recently bought for $900,000 each, and I did that on a 6-year, 15% balloon note, will probably come back and ask you for the same thing in pretty short order, would be my guess. I believe that they are probably having the same ideas as to the north of King B, PDR, and the part shown as MDR above that, and they probably wish to build them out at fairly high density in the long run. That would leave King B Street kind of like the hole in the donut, or the meat between the 2 pieces of people with bread in the sandwich. And we're going to experience a, how should we say, quality of life change that I think would be a little bit inconsistent with the way it's been used for the last quarter of a century, in my estimation. The industrial piece to the north there, it hardly matters what you put next to that. The piece to the south is a 10-acre piece that's currently residential, as you've seen. And those are pretty much the same as we've always had. Just to the north, the little MDR 10-acre piece actually does have people living on it. There's a $300,000 house that was built in the last year and a half. It is not vacant as per documents probably in your possession. So please consider that. I've talked to the gentleman and he's not happy about the idea of the thing getting filled in so quickly after he just bought in what he thought was a rather rural area. Thank you for listening.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak in opposition? Anyone else in opposition? Anyone else in opposition? Seeing none, the public hearing will be closed. Attorney Still, any closing comments?
No, we're fine. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. With that, we'll bring it to the board for conversation and possible action. Anyone wishing to start?
Mr. Chair,
Yes, Commissioner Worthington.
I'm not going to address any compatibility issues. I am not in favor of upzoning without a PUD for this application, so I would be voting against it.
Thank you.
I echo those comments.
Thank you. Any others?
Mr. Chairman, I feel the same way.
Okay.
Same here.
Okay. Dave?
Yeah, I would just say that I'm not completely against it, but without a PUD, I would not be in favor.
Well, I'll go with the majority as well. I'm not in favor of it either as proposed by the applicant. With that, if we could have a motion?
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
the Planning and Development Commission finds application number CPA-AA-22-21 inconsistent with the Citrus County Comprehensive Plan and Citrus County Land Development Code, and that this board recommends denial of the application to the Board of County Commissioners based upon the evidence and testimony presented and the staff report and conclusions regarding this petition.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, we have a first from Commissioner Worthington and a second from Commissioner Barnes. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Mr. Chair, if I might.
Yes.
If the way I look at my calendar and the fact that your next PDC meeting is canceled, I think this might be Mr. Stillwell's last. No.
No! Oh, my
Okay,
goodness.
well, I didn't want him to sneak out of here without recognizing that.
He's been saying, ever since I've been on this side of the table, he's said it was his last meeting.
Well, just give you an example of how you cannot just lock the door on this business. Like I filed the matter in October, and our first hearing is the first week of February. So like, no,
Oh.
you just gotta.
So I wasn't kicking you out the door, but I didn't want you to go without recognizing.
He'll probably walk in that day with balloons and signs and everything else.
He'll be retired and still show up.
There we go.
No, I don't think that'll happen.
So a couple things looking ahead. Obviously, no meeting next in 2 weeks. That's great. Your next meeting will be in February. One of the items in February, the first meeting is a waterfront park by the Homosassa Civic Club. That's a PUD coming before you. February 16th, we have two of the IMAs coming back to you. The Cardinal IMA, we have the nuts and bolts, the text to review, but it is a workshop. The State Route 44 IMA, the nuts and the text will be before you, but it is not a workshop. It's proposed as a hearing. So that is a comp plan change, whereas the Cardinal one will be a land development code. The text for the land development code is a workshop. So those are both coming before you. On the county commissioner's agenda on the 10th, the county administrator has recommended a growth management director. So we'll see what happens with that. It says effective January 10th, so we may have one as of next week. Nothing else, just enjoy the time off. Thank you.
Thank you.
Could be my last meeting.
Any other comments or questions from?
Excuse me, yeah, Mr. Royce and Mr. Facemeyer are up for, are asking for reappointment. That'll be on January 24th, considered by the board.
Okay, thank you. You have our votes. Any
Your
other?
vote doesn't count on this.
I know, but you have our vote of confidence, though. Any other comments or questions? Seeing a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
So moved. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Meeting closed. Thank you.